All right, let's get into a few of these asks. Now, I said before there was some social media stuff that everybody was sending to me, so thank you for sending me that. I'm going to read through the asks I got about them, which will probably explain it pretty well, and then I can commentate on anything else I have. The first one from Anonymous says, I normally don't pay attention to social media posts of actors, but Norman posting the bad lip reading video of Bethyl fight from Still in his stories today, after posting that he was back on set for Daryl Dixon in front of his trailer, sent me. Do we have any idea where in season 4 they are? Just starting filming, nearly wrapped, because what an odd time for him to post that unless it's the tiniest Easter egg. So some people are saying season 3 and some 4, and that is because it does say S3 on his trailer, but to me, that is not necessarily proof that he's still filming season 3. It could say that because it's there from when they wrapped season 3. So I'm honestly not sure whether it's season 3 or season 4. If it is season 4, they're just starting. If they're going back to do reshoots and things at the end of for the end of season 3, then it would be the end, or just filling in. They do reshoots sometimes if in the editing they figure out that they didn't quite get the shot they wanted or it didn't turn out. It's very common for them to go back and do reshoots. So it could be that too. We just don't know. But I like what you're saying here, that he specifically talked about being back filming, whichever season they're on, and then he posted a Bethyl thing. So to me, that tells me that either the end of season 3 or, whatever it is, beginning of season 4 is probably where we're going to find out about Beth. At least we're hoping. We're crossing fingers and toes. Yeah, I agree. So this next one from Obadala 2 says, Bethyl is happening. Norman over the last 2 days has dropped major hints on Instagram. First, he posted a pic of 2 skeletons in love, one with long blonde hair and the writing Love Never Dies. I thought that was obvious enough in and of itself, but then today he posts a pic from the Daryl Dixon set, additional scenes from season 3 or 4. Again, yeah, we're not entirely sure. And right after that, posts scenes of him and Beth in Still with the comments, I love this, and IKWNE, anagram for I knew. Has he ever been this overt? Guys, it's actually happening. So I will say that I completely missed the skeleton one. So thanks for sending that. Like, by the time I got on there and looked at it, I think that story had just expired. So I didn't actually see that one, but there it is. I did see the Back at It one. And then the the bad lip reading one, which this was kind of big back in season 5. Like, we haven't seen it for a long time, so I agree that it's really sus that he's posting that now, but it makes me really super happy, so thank you for that. I just wanted to make sure, sorry, who is this? Still as Wind, thank you. I just wanted to make sure you saw Norman Reedus' IG story. It's incredible that he would post this about him filming DDS4 and a clip of Still and a piece of art with a dead blonde girl with the statement, Love Never Dies. I have been on cloud 9 all day. She is so coming back. Thoughts? Yeah. Right there with you. Yeah. Same. I think he's being very overt about it. And at this point, it has been so long since she left and since the GA really thought about this that I promise we're the only ones noticing it. People would probably notice him in front of his trailer and be like, oh, cool, they're filming again, but that's about all they're getting out of this. One thing I haven't seen is if the carolers have had any reaction to this. I don't know. I haven't checked, and nobody has told me if they do. But, yeah, 100%. Here's another one. Oh, this is just a correction to my last ask. I thought he was him filming DDS4 because that's what has been said on X. But if you zoom in on the sign, it's DDS3. They're filming more for season 3. I wonder why. Also, EK is not there because she's scheduled this weekend at the camp with a few other TWD cast. Yeah, and we also know that she's been attending Walker Stalker Con Germany. Now, we've said a few times that she keeps going over to Europe to do these cons, and that's a little bit odd in and of itself because they're expensive. Like, a plane ticket over there is expensive. Having to pay for accommodations over there and all of the travel money. And then on top of that, they don't make that much money at the cons. They make some if people buy their merchandise or buy pictures and autographs with them. But they don't, it's not like she's making bank over there, so it's okay for her to go. She probably wouldn't make enough to make a profit. At the very most, I think she would break even. And she might not even break even, right? So it's odd that she keeps going over there unless they're trying to promote something and AMC is paying for it. That would be a completely different situation. And so, yeah, now she went over to another one in Germany. And again, that seems like it's a big undertaking and a lot of money for her. She's just a, previous cast member who's joining this con. And it just so happens to be going on right when he posts this. So, yeah, I think what we're all kind of thinking and not necessarily wanting to say is that maybe she keeps going over there to film and it's just being done in secret. That's what we're hoping anyway. So, yeah, 100%. Even on top of everything he posted that was suspicious, we have the fact that Emily is over there too. So, yeah, really interesting. May have jumped the gun on Norman's Insta post because I didn't have my sound on, but the audio was replaced, making the Bethyl scene still seem come off as a joke, and the IKWNE is just the name of the account that originally posted the edit. Despite that, I think it was really good news for us, along with his other posts for the future. And looking at the set pic of Zoom, if you zoom in on it, the sign says DDS3, so they are back filming more scenes for season 3 and not 4 yet. And where's Emily? So yeah, we kind of talked about all of that for sure. Okay, so yeah, I don't think I have a whole lot more to say about that, except, yeah, I 100% agree. People are noticing it, and that gives me a lot of hope for... I almost kind of hope that it's the end of season 3 instead of the beginning of season 4, because that would kind of suggest that maybe we'll finally hear about her or see her at the end of season 3. I don't think she's going to be in the full season. It could be that they're filming the very end, the very last episode, and we'll just see her or hear about her, something in the final episode. So I hope so. My fingers are crossed. I hope that's what it means, but we'll have to wait and see, as with everything. So thanks so much for everyone who sent those in to me. Let's see. I'm just seeing if we have any more of these. So now we know that that more filming is happening for DDS3. If you zoom in on Norman's set pic and look real hard, you can see it says in small print on the sign behind him, DDS3. I also noticed that Emily is going to be in Germany for the convention end of May. Convenient timing, anyone. Good cover story to dip off to Spain for a while and wherever they're doing studio footage at. Yeah, exactly. All right, awesome. Oh, and I have one that just says Norman's being sus again. Definitely. All right, so let's move on to other asks here. So to go along, this is Obadella 2 again. So to go along with the teaser line of Daryl being pretty young when all this started, in Norman's recent set pic, they've dyed his hair really dark again. If you look closely at the sign behind him, it says DDS3. So this shooting is still for season 3. I feel like that's darker than we've been seeing it on the show for a while now, and even in the DDS3 teasers we've gotten, they've got to be trying to make him look younger, right? And also length and cut-wise too, it looks more like S4, S5 hair, Daryl hair to me. Yeah, could be. It's not, to come back to this, it's not as short as it was in season 4 and 5. But yeah, they're definitely, if they keep dyeing his hair, then they're definitely trying to make him look younger. And, actually, if you're looking at this picture, he's even touching his hair, almost like he's hinting at something there. So yeah, I think you could be right about that. Okay, next one. This is so much fun. Have you seen the more recent IG post from Norman? LOL. Owls, a rabbit, red, green, and more. Cannot wait for DDS3. I did notice the rabbit. I may not have seen the other ones. I've been a little bit out of the loop for social media. But yeah, he definitely posts some interesting things. And with the rabbit, it was like literally a picture of a rabbit with no caption. And so we can't really say one way or the other what he was thinking when he posted that. But it just... the rabbit symbol is so prevalent in the show that I can't imagine it doesn't have something to do with this. And we do know that the actors do post things that are related to the show. So I think that's important. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out. This may have been asked already, but a little while ago, some filming spoilers leaked with Daryl and some girl on his bike. Certain shippers were freaking out about this. Is there any merit? Beth still feels inevitable to me, but since this whole show is centered on Daryl finding his happy ending, maybe there'll be more love interest than previously thought, like testing the waters or in grief, or this is just jumping to conclusions. I don't remember the filming spoilers specifically, but there are other characters in the show that we know they're going to be getting to know a little bit, so it wouldn't really be surprising that he would have somebody riding on his bike. I don't think that necessarily means it's a love interest. It could just be somebody he's helping, Of course, certain shippers are always going to freak out about it, but I don't know. We talked about this a little bit before with after Isabel. I mean, it just doesn't seem... They already did the Isabel thing, and it would start to feel really contrived if every season he got a new love interest that then died at the end. You know what I mean? Like, the fans wouldn't like that. So I have a hard time believing they'll do that over and over again. And especially if, like we talked about, there's, you know, some evidence that she'll be showing up, Beth, I mean, at the end of season 3 or the beginning of season 4, I don't think they'd have time to do another love interest relationship. So I don't know what it was, those filming spoilers. But yeah, there's going to be other characters, there are going to be other women. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a love interest just because they're riding on the back of his bike. So I do think that's... It is kind of jumping the gun a little bit just because we don't know the context, you know. And I could be wrong. Maybe there is a little bit of a flirtation going on there. But I don't see it being like a big storyline, even if there is. So we just kind of have to wait and see what happens in the season, what it brings us, and then we'll be able to judge from there. I've noticed that since the first episode, Daryl Dixon has gotten more gray in color. Is this thematic to the show, or to the show that it's colder? It's not just the filming style because it's very saturated when Daryl first washes ashore. It's probably thematic. I've talked about this before, that a lot of times they do use a darker filter to show, you know, darker times, sadder times, that sort of thing. I think we'll get a lot more color in season 3 just because they're going to be in a desert, and so there tends to be brighter oranges and reds and things like that. But yeah, I mean, they very well could be slowly darkening the filter as things get a little darker in the show. And that's a stylistic thing, an artistic thing, and it's something that filmmakers do a lot. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. All right, 2-part question about fire symbolism. We've seen fire used as an important metaphor in Daryl's relationships with Beth and Carol. Obviously, Beth in Still and Carol in Consumed. What's your take on what fire symbolizes in each of these relationships and how it differs for Bethyl as opposed to Carol? Part 2 is that fire symbolism doesn't seem to be as prevalent in Daryl Dixon, but wondering if anything stuck out to you that may be a Bethyl clue. Okay, so fire symbolism, it really is about getting rid of things. In a general way. So with Beth and Daryl, they were like symbolically burning down their past so that they could start new and start fresh. And it was just symbolic to both of them of getting rid of old feelings and old guilt and things that were holding them back and wanting to really move forward in a positive way. Now we see Carol, we see her burn things, and her her reasons for it are generally not as pure as that, but it is still about getting rid of things that she considers to be a threat. So she burned Karen and David back at the prison because she was afraid they would spread the virus, right? We saw her burning, it was way later, it was when she was with Henry. So what was that, beginning of season 9? Or it would have been after Rick left, right? After the 6-year time jump. And we saw her burning a group of saviors so that she could... what did they take from her? It was a ring or something, right? And Henry knew that she had burned them. Like, he figured it out, even though she tried to hide it from him. She did the same thing with Maggie in... okay, what episode is that? The Same Boat, I think, with Paula's people, which she, you know, had them meet her on the kill floor and then started them on fire. So, I mean, it's something that we see, but I think it's just about getting rid of something, but it's really the intention for why you're getting rid of it that makes the difference. With Beth and Daryl, it was really all about them and them wanting to move forward and let go of their past that were holding them back, and it was almost like a self-help sort of thing. With Carol, that's not always the case. So that's kind of my take on it, and we very often talk about how both fire and water are Beth symbolism. But it's especially important that in Still, we see Beth starting the fire. Daryl's out hunting, he's doing his thing, and it's her that starts the fire. So it's like that's her role. And I think that it's symbolic of her being able to, influence people. Like, she could influence them to fight or influence them to start a revolution or that sort of thing. And in her case, she influenced Daryl to let go of the guilt he was feeling and move forward, right? And then we could also talk about Sirius. Very often With the one-eyed dog, the missing eye has a flame of some kind in it. It gets into cosmology and constellations and some of the symbolism there. So there's a lot of different ways we could go with it. Fire represents so many different things in so many different cultures. There's really not just one thing. But like I said, I think it's mostly... It feels like a lot of times when Carol does it, like I said, it is to remove something or someone that she feels is a threat, but she's coming from a much more negative, like a much more, what's the word, like, self-destructive place, almost, when she does it. I mean, think about it this way. When Connie disappeared, it was because Carol went back into the cave and she was using dynamite, and then when it exploded, that led to disaster when she dropped it. Daryl was trying to get her not to drop it. And that's a type of fire, right? It's an explosion, but that actually got people hurt and led to Connie being lost. And Daryl thought she was dead for a long time and had to look for her for a long time. You could argue that the fire and still might have done the same thing with Beth, if that's what got them noticed by the people at Grady, was the fire. So, and a lot of that we don't know because they haven't told us. I think that's stuff they have yet to reveal. So yeah, it's kind of like, it's complex symbolism because they've used it so many times, and you have to kind of look at it on a case-by-case basis. I don't think that it's any less prevalent. I just think that the storyline hasn't gone to places where they wanted to use the fire symbolism necessarily. But we know they'll be using it in season 3 because they have this big bonfire dance kind of thing in this community where they're burning a dragon float of some kind. So we're going to see it again. I just think that the storyline has been such that they haven't specifically used it. But I do think that it's still around and that we'll see it more. So yeah, really great question. I don't know how well I answered it, but like I said, it's a very... under a big umbrella, this symbolism. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and call it there, but I will be back soon with another Ask video. Everyone have a lovely week.